Okay. All right. Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for joining us. We have Tulane head coach Jay Uhlman here, and then we'll be followed by T.O. Banks. So we can start with an opening statement for coach, then we'll go to questions, please.
Survive in advance. I mean, it's pretty simple. I said before the game, it's not March Madness, it's May Madness, and we're gonna see how the guys were ready to come and play, and they were in pretty good character and spirit. So really, again, happy for them. Love seeing the joy for them, and we live to fight another day. A lot of heroic efforts by a lot of different people, and we used it all today, the inside game, the running game, the home run game. So we got to break out a lot of different ways to beat somebody today, which was fun.
Okay, we'll go to questions, please. Just fire away if you'd like.
Okay.
Go to
Jay,
first.
Yeah, you're down 1 run in the 4th inning. There's 2 outs. Luis Aviles swings at what looks like ball 4, but then he hits a blooper that finds outfield grass for 2 runs, and it starts a big inning. Is that the type of play that has seemed like it's been just completely absent from the team for a month, just finding some space and then turning it into a huge inning?
As you know, Gary, that's been a play we haven't seen a whole lot on our offensive side. It's been usually against us. So when that found some green, I think there was a collective sigh, and it just, it opened up the floodgates for the rest of the guys and took the pressure off. And so, yeah, when you're up there hitting, it's like I always say, it's always easier from the side, and guys swing at what you think is ball 4. And but again, they're the ones in there competing, and they're the ones that are in there seeing what they see. So, it's just, as we say, the courage to get jammed with 2 strikes, and he did, and it found some fluffy green. So certainly that was a huge momentum swing right there.
T.O. Banks had the huge triple poking it down the opposite field line. Then he pulled one for a home run. Just how much he missed a lot of the year. Just how much is he starting to show his talent?
Well, he's a special kid in more ways than just a baseball player. He's a big part of the future of this program. Super athletic, super competitive, does a lot of things really well, and he's been a 2-sport athlete for a long time, and so for him to just kind of now focus on baseball, and it's unfortunate that he lost a lot of time early in the year to the dang thumb injury. Otherwise he'd have a lot more at bats under his belt. So the future is really bright for him, our young players, the program, and it's a matter of getting those guys continued reps and experiences, and stages like this. Those are things that propel players into special kinds of things. And just think ultra highly of him, and just a wonderful kid, and really happy for him.
Pitching wise, I think it probably went pretty much like you would have drawn it out today. How key was that? Obviously you're going to be pitching thin going forward, but to get the 4 innings from Massey and the effective pitching before that. Today.
Really big. Obviously the only unfortunate thing was, you got Brutcher, who's a big power guy and a fly ball hitter, and he lofted one the opposite way that found the seat. So that was really the only blemish from Hoffman. He gave us exactly what we had hoped and thought he would give us. It was a lift for our players. We staked him to a 1-0 lead. So, we got kind of exactly how we drew it up, like you said, and Valagoski did his job and passed the baton. And, when we had Kneppel and Welch down there in the pen. And the real big play, obviously, was the fastball jam to Monk that we turned the double play with Brutcher on deck, where we could just leave Massey out there to finish that game there. So that was a really big part of the game. So yeah, just kudos to our guys for passing the baton and doing a really good job to get us an off day, and then back to it again, where again it's all hands on deck again. So it's survive in advance.
You've got 2 days to consider it, and like you said, it's all hands on deck. Would the 2 guys in the bullpen, Kneppel and Chandler Welch, be key guys on Friday? Maybe early in the game. I don't know. I don't know how you're going to look at that.
Well, we can rip up some papers and put names on it. We'll put it in your hat, Gary, and we'll draw out of it. But seriously though, yeah, I mean, we'll see. We'll put our collective brains together and figure out who's feeling good and who can go short, and just kind of develop that game plan. So I don't want to divulge too much of what we're going to do that way, but Other than Carmouche and probably Massey and Hoffman, I wouldn't anticipate anyone else being out at that point. Seeing guys like you said, Kneppel, Welch, Robinson, those guys will, be in demand in that kind of game. I would think Valagoski in another day off, could probably give us a few outs as well. So we'll see how we can draw this thing up to continue to advance.
You mentioned you did it a lot of different ways today. You bunted twice with Brennan, and he came through both times. Moved runners over one time, got the squeeze down to score the first run in the beginning.
Yeah, the thing that I really like about the safety is it's not a have to bunt like a suicide squeeze is. It's bunt a strike, and he's got a good eye, and he did take a pitch for a ball, and then he put down the perfect one. But not only do you give up an out, but you get a run and you put one in scoring position. And so, it creates pressure, and whatever you think about the short game, it's, some people don't like it and some people do, but when in college baseball, you create your opportunities by the pressure you put on them if you can't hit the ball over the fence a bunch of times. So again, we're going to do it whatever way we have to do it and whatever we feel like the game calls for. And our guys are ready for that. They want that. And I think the other thing that those kinds of things do is it takes the pressure off of the players to have to feel like they have to hit a homer. They can contribute without having to, be perfect. And Gary, over the last month and a half, we've tried to be really perfect and it hasn't gone very well. And so whatever we can do to help these guys help themselves and contribute to the success of the team is what we're going to ask them to do moving forward.
Hi, Coach. Ed from the ABC affiliate. Do you feel like, I know it's kind of a sketchy thing in baseball, but after the big hit today from Aviles that maybe you got a little momentum? Do you feel that way in the dugout at all, or is that a very, very, very iffy thing in baseball?
Yeah, I do. I've said it multiple times. It's only as good as the next game, or your starting pitcher, or just how things kind of roll out. So, certainly it's better than the alternative. We're not getting on the bus and trying to figure out what charter flight we're going to get on tomorrow. We get to regroup and get our feet up and be with each other again for however long we're able to do that. And so that's the ultimate mission. This group really loves each other. They really do. And it hasn't been perfect, but they do have each other's backs, and that's the really cool thing. And again, to see the joy on their faces and in their spirit is really, really the most important thing.
You went to Bennett as your leadoff hitter today, and it paid immediate dividends. He singled and scored a run in the first. What was the thought process there?
Yeah, and it wasn't just him either. I wanted to get some length through the lineup. I wanted to try to how they pitched our guys. For instance, Brown threw off-speed pitches to Luis and Simon the last time we saw him, and a lot of fastballs to Hart and to Trevor. And so I wanted to kind of move Trevor up to get him away from Hart to have to make Brown pitch differently to those guys instead of just get in a groove where he could just throw fastballs in there and feel good about himself. I wanted him to have to work. I wanted him to get in a spot where I had base running threats in front of the guys he was throwing off speed pitches to, so that if we got into off speed counts, I would feel good about running first move and stealing in those situations based on how they've pitched those guys in the past. So it definitely wasn't grab it out of a hat. There was method to that madness. And, for today, it paid off. And, whether we see that lineup again or, however we go, I'm going to try to massage it the best way we can to get the most length out of the lineup.
Anything further for Coach? Coach Uhlman, thanks for your time.
Look forward to seeing you guys again on Friday.
Right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Coach. All right, we'll bring in T.O. Banks here in just a second. Okay, joined now by T.O. Banks from Tulane. Again, just please feel free to fire away with questions.
Theo, did as a whole team, did it feel like some of the pressure came off after Luis Aviles hit that blooper that landed? You guys hadn't been seen to be getting any breaks in the last month, and then you immediately poured it on in the sixth run inning. Did you kind of need something good to happen for you to to get loose there?
I don't think there was really any pressure. As long as you can control what you can control, people create their own pressure. And I felt like we went out there and did what we could and didn't control the outcome, and it worked.
How much fun did you guys have out there today?
That was a blast. Loved it.
You had your patented opposite field shot, which was a big hit in one inning, but then you got your first career homer when you pulled it. What was the pitch there, and how nice did it feel to get your first home run?
It was an inside slider, and I mean, it felt great. Couldn't do it without my teammates, my coaches.
You feel like you were ready to kind of bust out a little bit, or?
Yes, sir. I felt good.
Could you elaborate a little bit on, why you felt something like this was coming?
Let me think real quick. I just thought the time was going to come soon. Not like me hitting a home run or me hitting a triple, but just our bats finally coming through. Even though we had a good amount of hits, there's still more barrels that we had. I just felt like our time was going to come through, and just kept pushing through, kept the foot on the gas pedal, and it ended up working.
How you're pretty much a happy-go-lucky guy. I mean, you're smiling a lot. But how frustrating was it to have that thumb injury during the year that just sidelined you for a good portion of it?
It wasn't really too frustrating because we have a lot of good players in the outfield. Nothing I can do about it. It happened. I have to adapt to the circumstance and just keep pushing forward and trusting the process. So nothing to be mad about. Just a bump in the road.
What's it going to take for you guys to hang around past Friday in this tournament?
Just keep giving full effort. That's all it is. That's all you can do.
All right. Anything more for Tio? Tio, thanks so much for giving us a few minutes.
Thanks.
Thank you all.
Appreciate it.
All right. So Tulane will face the loser of the Cincinnati East Carolina game. The Cincinnati East Carolina game is tomorrow, but Tulane will play on Friday, 1 p.m. Eastern time in the next elimination game. We'll have USF coach Billy Mohl in here shortly.
Thank you. I'm going to say good night. I appreciate you very, very much.
All right, joined by South Florida coach Billy Mohl. Coach, just take your opening statement on the game, please, then we'll open up to questions.
At this point, this day of the year is always hard. Looking in that locker room and knowing that you're never going to coach that same team again, just fell short today.
Take questions. Gary, anything from you, or we can start from the room?
Yeah, but Tulane's freshman T.O. Banks was one of their biggest recruits coming in.
Hold on.
Oh,
I got two.
sorry. Tulane's freshman Teo Banks was one of their biggest recruits coming into the year. He missed most of the year with a thumb injury. He's really starting to come into his own. How much did he? I mean, he had the triple to opposite field and the home run against you today. How much did he hurt you guys today?
I mean, he hurt us. I mean, that's a good looking kid. That's a good looking freshman. I mean, he looks like a big leaguer in uniform. He's going to be a really special player moving forward for them. I was really impressed with him.
You had the 3-1 lead, and then they couldn't get out of that inning with 2 outs. You still had the lead with 2 outs, and then suddenly it was a 7-3 deficit.
That's kind of been the story this year. 2 outs, bases loaded with Aviles up, and we bring in one of our better guys, Hunter, and Aviles does a good job with a 3-2 count and fists the ball over Rosenblum's head at second base, leads to a run, which we couldn't stop the bleeding. It just one thing led to after another. And, we've had an issue with big innings this year. We've given up quite a few in the last month, and, can't have that happen in college baseball. Big innings kill you.
I'm good.
Just up and down motions yesterday. I guess the top seed, you're right with them, and then you're down early today. It's probably easy to maybe phone it in, but the guys battle. Even in this back game when you went down, chipped away. What does that say about the guys on the team? the approach they had in this game, really all year when they've been on.
Yeah, our guys never, ever folded. They went hard the entire time. The issue with this year was, if we pitched really well, the bats were cold. If we pitched really, if we swung it really well, we might have given up a few runs. It was, in baseball, you got to be able to, feel the ball, hit the ball, and pitch the ball. And it was hard for us with the youth that we had to put all three together consistently on a daily basis.
And just one more, just obviously the success of last year and injuries really, slowed some things this year, but you had a lot of guys, you underclassmen starting this game. You brought 4 freshmen out of the bullpen today. Just, the experience and the things that those guys showed you this year.
I told the freshmen that they got a lot of opportunities that most freshmen don't usually get. And when you look at the Mayos, the Brodills, the Sonny Rayos, you look at all those guys, Dietz, Siebert, they got a lot of experience this year as freshmen. And I go back to Carmine Lane as a freshman who hit a $190, and you're talking about Mayo and Brodil and those guys who are hitting 280, 290, so the future's bright. Obviously, we're disappointed in the year. But at the end of the day, our guys laid it all on the field, and it's just the way it went.
Thank you, Coach. Appreciate you giving us a few minutes.
Thanks, Sean.
All right.